U.S. and Iran agree to a 2-week ceasefire. Just did this earlier. Following escalating threats and military actions, the U.S. and Iran reached an additional 2-week ceasefire agreement. Safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. So they do get straight passage through the Strait of Hormuz. So this should largely fix the oil shot, right? We don't know what's going to happen after the 2 weeks. After President Trump issued strong warning but opted for a diplomatic pause. Okay. Artemis 2 mission completes lunar flyby. The other thing we looked into. Destiny swung by the moon, broke Apollo era records, captured historic Earth images, and is heading home. Going to the moon. Federal judge blocks Trump order defunding NPR and PBS. That's a news station, right? A judge struck down an executive order cutting public funding for the National Public Radio, PBS, ruling it violated free speech protection amid ongoing congressional funding. So the National Public Radio, PBS, got funding from the federal government. Trump was trying to remove that funding. So far, a federal judge blocks Trump's order. So there is still federal funding to news in the US. All right. Look at some global or international stories. See if there's something good here. Ongoing Israeli actions in Lebanon and regional fallout from conflict. I hear that their invasion of Lebanon has not been going so well. Israel announces plans to wind its invasion of southern Lebanon, while civilian casualties, strikes, spillover effects, US-Iran war, 1,000 deaths related operations. Escalation risks further destabilizing the Middle East and ceasefire effort. Yeah. Can I get an update of the ongoing conflict between Israel and Lebanon? Can you also recommend a short video that goes into what is currently going on the ground? I'm not sure if I'm able to, like, what I can show, right? Short video. I can't show anything too violent, right? Iran accepts ceasefire after Trump paused bombing. This is what remains after Israel strikes on towns across southern Lebanon.
We have the Truth Social report on social media page, which is given added veracity by the fact that the White House has now formally posted it out, in which it is confirmed that President Trump has agreed to this 2-week ceasefire at the request of the Pakistani Prime Minister and the Field Marshal of Pakistan, Asim Munir. But there is a catch in it, a very important point that wasn't made clear in the original reporting a few minutes earlier. He says, agreeing to the complete, immediate and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz. This is one of the conditions for the ceasefire that the president has just expressed. So this is very important because President Trump is saying, yes, I have agreed to a 2-week ceasefire on condition that the Iranians immediately open the Strait of Hormuz. He then goes on and makes clear that this is far more than just a temporary ceasefire being envisaged. It is, from his social media post, the possibility of the beginning of a longer negotiation process, because what he says is that the US has received a 10-point proposal from Iran, which it believes is a workable basis on which to operate. And he adds a 2-week.
So you just bomb them long enough to their peace proposal starts to get closer to your peace proposal, to where it's acceptable for you to. They've come far enough that now you can accept the peace. And if they're not there yet, then you just keep bombing them until they get closer. And it seems we might be there.
Period will allow the agreement to be finalized and consummated. So this is a very significant point as well, because what President Trump is announcing here in his social...
I've gotten off track. I was looking up Lebanon information. How did I? Okay, let's just read. April 7th, 8th. The conflict between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon, often referred to as the 2026 Lebanon War, is ongoing and has entered its second month. Reignited on March 2nd, 2026, when Hezbollah fired projectiles into Israel in retaliation for the assassination of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah al-Khamenei amid the broader U.S.-Israel military actions against Iran. Israel responded with intense airstrikes, followed by a ground offensive that began expanding significantly around mid-March. Israel forces are conducting operations in southern Lebanon, with reports of pushing deeper, destroying infrastructure and establishing a secure buffer zone along the border, potentially extending towards or beyond the Latani River in some places. Isn't that a lot? Can we see? Yeah, so Lebanon is this, right? And so the Latany River, like that's the southern fifth? I remember. Can't actually see it. I think it's mostly covered by a road. Latany River comes up. Okay, so the Latany River comes all the way down. Which I guess isn't, that's the start of it and it comes down. Like a seventh of Lebanon? Latany. Can I drop a guy in Lebanon? Come on. You know you want to. No, you see, I don't trust places. Trust places that don't let me like. Ooh, northern Lebanon lets you though. It's just southern Lebanon. What does Lebanon look like? I mean, like that's nice. Less so, a little shack. That's a fine looking gas station. This is like some northern village. That looks nice down there. Find somewhere else. Here we drop him. Nobody knows. We're still too far south. Wait, are we even in Lebanon anymore? Is that the border? That's the border. Lebanon's down here. I don't know. We were in it. Let's look in this city. Yeah, they've got all this done. I mean, nice looking place. Hmm. Yeah. So Lebanon, specifically southern Lebanon, conflict with Israel. What's going on? Was a security buffer zone along the border potentially extending towards or beyond Latany River in some place, in some plans. Israeli officials, include Prime Minister Netanyahu and Defense Minister Katz, have described goals of degrading Hezbollah's capabilities, preventing rockets and anti-tank threats to Israel, creating a long-term zone where Israeli forces may remain even after. So Hezbollah is like one of those proxy groups of Iran, correct? Kind of like Hamas was. Uh, Proxy groups are not good. Casualties and impacts. Lebanese side, Lebanese health authorities reports indicate over 1,500 killed, including civilians, and estimated 400 to 1,000 Hezbollah fighters. Around 4,800 injured since March 2nd. More than 1 million people, about one-fifth of Lebanon's population, mostly Shiite communities, have been displaced. Strikes hit civilian areas, caused widespread destruction in southern border towns, and led to evacuation orders of dozens of villages. Israeli side, Hezbollah has launched thousands of rockets, drones, and other attacks on northern Israeli and IDF positions in southern Lebanon. At least 8 to 13 Israeli soldiers and several civilians killed. Additional injuries and damages to homes and settlements. That's lower than I thought. Aren't they in full out ground operations? I guess I guess we watched the US go in and save those pilots and lose nobody, and they got into like ground fights with Iran. They did that. They lost nobody, so that's low. What I heard before, at least. Hezbollah claims frequent strikes on IDF troop tanks. The fighting involves, I guess it is all lost in the fog of war too, right? Like, I imagine the US has a hard time hiding a casualty, but Israel, once you're in ground operation, probably have a much easier time. Not that I'm saying it's that much different, but that is surprisingly killed what 400 to 1,000 of their fighters and lost 8 to 13. Maybe they're just that much better. The fighting involves a mix of Israeli strikes, artillery, and ground raid. No comprehensive ceasefire is in place. How has Israel's invasion of Lebanon been going? Have they conquered the ground that they want, or are they stalled? Let's see. Are they progressing, or is it stalled out? The first thing is like mixed results. Okay, so there's not going to be a definitive answer here. Still, having been in active war for reignited on March 2nd. So a little over a month. They have lost 8 to 13 men. That's good. Like that's a low number of casualties for a month of heavy fighting. As of April 7th to 8th, roughly 3 to 4 weeks into the ground phase, Israel's military operations in southern Lebanon are progressing with steady territorial advances, but have not yet fully secured the long-term security buffer zone up to the Itani River that officials have publicly outlined as the goal. The invasion is not a full-scale conquest of Lebanon. It focuses on the southern border region, that region where we couldn't drop the guy and have Google Maps can't even get to that region. But it involved significant ground incursion support, airstrikes, artillery, and demolitions. Israeli forces are expanding control rather than stalled, though Hezbollah continues guerrilla-style resistance with rockets, drones, and so it looks like they're making progress. But it's not going to be like it's not going to be easy. Hamas in Gaza Strip basically had fully surrounded, right? You don't have that luxury in Lebanon. Ground offensive launch began in earnest around March 16th, so it wasn't in earnest until the 16th. The IDF divisions, including 21st, 146, and 162nd, crossed the border for targeted operation to establish a forward base area and push Hezbollah forces back. Israeli troops have pushed 5 to 10 plus kilometers deep, multiple sectors. Okay. Lebanon is it's a weird one. Because like Hezbollah is not the leader of the nation of Lebanon. They're, what I understand, a political group that is active in the southern regions of Lebanon that is highly militant. What is Hezbollah's power in Lebanon? I hear they're just a political party, but how does that work? How does their military compare to the Lebanon military? Blending government with gone. All right. We're going to move on after this. See if there's a story to look. We're probably almost out of questions anyway. Hezbollah is not just a political party, it's a hybrid Shia Islamist organization with intertwined political, military, and social wings that function as what analysts would widely call a state within a state, Lebanon. This structure is enabled by Lebanon's fragile sectacular power, sharing system, confession, its weak central government, Hezbollah's origin as a resistant movement against Israel in Israel's 1982 invasion, heavy Iranian backing. It participates fully in politics while maintaining an independent armed forces that the Lebanese state has historically been unable or unwilling to disarm, largely to avoid civil war. Oh, so it functions as a state within a state. How does it compare to the Lebanese armed forces? Fighters to like 50,000 to 80,000. Guerrilla tactics. So this is a significant military force in Lebanon. Like 50 to 80,000, that's not a significant difference. Which is why Lebanon hasn't been able to have them.